What's up, Ram fam? It's Steve, and we have huge breaking news that just came out. I've got video footage. We're just going to dive right into it because some of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you right now have not even yet been announced. They're going to be announced here in the next hour or so. Now, I'm going to share with you this stuff. 3 big major announcements today that you need to watch for in this interview that we're about to watch. Now, the first one, I'm just going to recap these really quick, then we're going to dive into the video footage. The first one is New York City has officially become the first city to require vaccines for indoor activities. That's right. You cannot do activities in the city of New York without a vaccine. Take a look at this. New York City will become the first U.S. city to require proof of at least 1 dose of the vaccine for a variety of activities for workers and customers, indoor dining, gyms, and performances to put pressure on people to get vaccinated. Now, the second one, take a look here. In this interview, you're going to see President Biden calls on Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, to resign after bombshell accusations hit. Things I can't say on YouTube, and also links to these articles in the description below. And the last bit of breaking news that has not even yet been announced, but we heard of in this speech is this. Take a look here. Biden administration expected to announce limited targeted eviction moratorium likely to last until early October. Now, here's the first portion, then we're going to dive into this video footage. The Biden administration is expected to announce a new eviction moratorium for 60 days in areas of the country with higher substantial transmission of the pandemic after letting a previous moratorium expire over the weekend. So you guys, that eviction moratorium, it looks like there's going to be an announcement here and hasn't even been announced yet. And we have word of it, and they're saying this is probably not going to be constitutional and will be legally challenged. So we're going to see what unfolds here now. I'm going to share with you guys the video footage so you can see it for yourself. But before we do, if you could do me a quick favor, if you like and appreciate these updates, keeping you up to date on stuff before it's even happening, don't forget to do me a quick favor and smash that like button. Just takes a second, really helps out the channel a ton. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And also, this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date on all the stuff that's happening right now with stimulus, Congress, the economy, unemployment, breaking news with what's happening in our world. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. And also, if you got any specific questions for me, be sure to join me on Instagram at SteveRam3. Shoot me a DM. That is the best way to get a hold of me if you got any specific questions that you want answered. But with that being said, you guys, let's take a look at this video footage of what President Joe Biden just had to say on these breaking news updates. Let's go ahead and dive right in.
Mr. President, I have a question for you on coronavirus, but first I'd like to start with the news of the day, given back in March you said that if the investigation confirmed the allegations against Governor Cuomo, then he should resign. So will you now call on him to resign, given the investigator said the 11 women were credible?
I stand by that statement.
Are you now calling on him to resign?
Yes.
And if he doesn't resign, do you believe he should be impeached and removed from office?
Let's take one thing at a time here. I think he should resign. I understand that the state legislature may decide to impeach. I don't know that for a fact. I've not read all that data.
And he's using a photo of you embracing him in his self-defense to say that these are commonplace kind of embraces that he made and the allegations against him. Do you condone that?
Look, I'm not going to fly-spec this. I'm sure there are some embraces that were totally innocent, but apparently the Attorney General decided there were things that weren't.
On the evictions and the moratorium that lapsed on Saturday night, what is your strategy to prevent potentially millions of people from being evicted from their homes, given what we are told your administration is considering a targeted moratorium is likely to face legal challenges?
Any call for a moratorium based on the Supreme Court recent decision is likely to face obstacles. I've indicated to the CDC I'd like them to look at other alternatives than the one that is in power in existence, which the court has declared they're not going to allow to continue. And the CDC will have something to announce to you in the next hour to 2 hours.
And then one other question on the virus. You just said we have to continue our aggressive efforts to get the unvaccinated vaccinated. Other countries have found a lot of success in requiring vaccines in public places. New York City just announced today that they'll require vaccines for restaurants and gyms. Do you think more cities and states should institute rules like that?
I do.
And And are you going to publicly call on them? Should they institute a vaccine passport type system, or it's up to each city and state to figure that out on their own?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Do you think that they should institute a vaccine passport type system or some sort of verification to use public spaces?
I don't think they need to do that. I think they just need to give the authority of those restaurants or businesses to say, in order to come in, you have to give proof that you've been vaccinated or that you can't come in. Take a couple
Mr. President, can I ask you about the news of the day, one on Governor Cuomo? You're calling for him to resign now. My question is, do you think he should be prosecuted? And what is your message to the women?
Look, what I said was, if the investigation Attorney General concluded that the allegations are correct, that back in March, that I would recommend he resign. That's what I'm doing today. I've not read the report. I don't know the detail of it. All I know is the end result.
So, Mr. President, another question on COVID, if I could, really quickly. It's the eviction moratorium. Can you explain a little bit more why it took so long to have a possible eviction moratorium be put into place? There were people, this expired on Saturday. I'm wondering, there are folks who are saying it took too long for this to happen.
Well, look, the courts made it clear that the existing moratorium was not constitutional. It wouldn't stand. And they made that clear back in, I guess, July 15th or July 18th. In the meantime, what I've been pushing for and calling for is we have billions of dollars that we've given to states to provide for rent and utilities for those people who can't afford to stay in their homes because they can't, in an apartment, they can't pay their rent. And so we're urging them to distribute those funds to the landlords. I believe that would take care of the vast majority of what needs to be done to keep people in their apartments now. And so that's what we're working on. Some states have done it and some communities have, but they have not. The money is there. It's not, we don't have to send it out. It's been sent out to the states and counties. Billions of dollars for the express purpose of providing for back rent and rent the people who are in the middle of this crisis. And that's there. That's what we're pushing now. And we've been pushing that. That's the immediate thing to do.
We're learning that your administration is about to announce a new partial eviction moratorium, COVID-related. Can you tell us any more about that? And are you sure it's going to pass Supreme Court muster?
The answer is twofold. One, I've sought out constitutional scholars to determine what is the best possibility that would come from executive action or the CDC's judgment. What could they do that was most likely to pass muster constitutionally? The bulk of the constitutional scholarship says that it's not likely to pass constitutional muster, number one. But there are several key scholars who think that it may, and it's worth the effort. But the present, the court's already ruled on the present eviction moratorium. So I think what you're going to see, and look, I want to make it clear. I told you I would not tell the Justice Department or the medical experts or scientists what they should say or do. So I don't want to get ahead. The CDC has to make this. I asked the CDC to go back and consider other options that may be available to them. You're going to hear from them what those other options are. I have been informed they're about to make a judgment as to potential other options. Whether that option will pass constitutional measure with this administration, I can't tell you. I don't know. There are a few scholars who say it will, and others who say it's not likely to. But at a minimum, by the time it gets litigated, it will probably give some additional time while we're getting that $45 billion out to people who are, in fact, behind in the rent and don't have the money. That's why it was passed in the act that we passed in the beginning of my administration, and it went to the states. We were under the impression that the states were moving this money out relatively rapidly. So, for example, if I'm in an apartment if you're in an apartment and you're behind on 4 or 5 months rent, and let's say your rent is $2,000 a month, I'm just making this up out of the blue, and you're behind, you need $10,000 to catch up. Hardly anybody has that $10,000. But there's money that the states have that can give to the landlord that $10,000 to the back rent. The future rent, it's unlikely, at least the hope is, since they have been made whole to that point, that they'd be inclined, because the economy is growing, inclined not to throw someone out in the street, keep that person, no guarantee, keep that person in the apartment, keep these kids in the same school district, and count on being able to have the opportunity for that person to be able, who may now be employed, to pay their rent. But in the meantime, I've asked that, is there any safety valve we can put in? And it's the one I explained to you. Again, CDC will announce that and the details of exactly how it works. I'm not telling, I told them I want them to take a look. I didn't tell them what they had to do. And my hope is it's going to be a new moratorium that in some way, and I'm not going to announce it now, let them announce it, in some way covers close to 90% of the American people who are renters. And so that's all I can tell you now. Thank you very much.
What's the difference?
Because it's a, let them explain that to you, okay? I don't want to get too far. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, but just want to follow up on these 3 major announcements. Now, first, required vaccines in New York City. We're going to be seeing if other places follow suit as well and start requiring that you are vaccinated in order to participate in doing certain activities. Now, also, we heard him say that he was not suggesting this on a federal level, that they were going to be leaving it up to state, county, city entities to go ahead and make their own decisions. Also, Governor Andrew Cuomo, he said that he's going to be leaving it up to him to decide what he wants to do. And we're going to be seeing, I'll be sure to let you guys know on that. And lastly, the CDC, we will likely be hearing from them any moment now today. And as that comes out, I'll be sure to let you know, as that would be huge breaking news if they're going to be extending this out further. And it sounds like they're going to be doing that for the next 60 days. They're going to be extending this out, and we will get all the details. And you guys, let me know your thoughts down below. And as always, thank you so much for joining me. And if you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget, smash that like button. If you appreciate these updates, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell to come join the Ram fam and stay up to date on all this stuff that's unfolding. And join me on Instagram at SteveRam3, and I'll do my best to respond to all of those questions as quickly as possible. And with that being said, you guys, hope this reaches you well. I'll be sure to catch you in the next video. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.